Okay, everyone, welcome to another edition of Choose to Challenge. I am Luana Bradford, and I'm excited because we are in Black History Month, and we are here to talk about history, our living legacy, giants whose shoulders we stand on. And I'm so excited because I have the amazing Mrs. Martha Wills here joining us. How's it going, Mrs. Wills?
Oh, going well. I'm just having a little tired a little bit, but it's okay. I'm doing fine today. Just kind of tired a little bit, but it's okay. I'm doing well.
Good. Thank you for saying yes. I want to tell the audience a little bit about you.
Okay.
I have known Mrs. Wills for almost 50 years. She was younger than I am today when I met her. She has been an inspiration to me, a pillar of the community. She is a minister. She is a mother. She is a military wife, and just a strong powerhouse showing us what endurance, resiliency is all about. And today we're just going to unpackage a little bit about her story because I think it's so important that we don't forget those who have paved the way for us. Mrs. Wills is, I hope you don't mind me saying it, but she's a beautiful, strong, healthy 96-year-old. And that is amazing that we still have individuals such as her around us that we can still learn from. She can still mentor, pour into us. I know I am who I am because of just being around her amazing family when I was a little kid in college. You didn't know anything, but I thought I knew everything. And she had to put me in check a couple times. Mrs. Wills, tell us a little bit about your background. Where were you from originally?
I am from, we were born in West Memphis, Arkansas. And my parents moved from there to Memphis, Tennessee. And from there, my father moved to Cordova, right outside of Memphis. Well, it was outside of Memphis at the time. Anyway, he was a sharecropper. He worked the fields, the cotton fields and all that kind of thing. So I was raised in the country. And, it's a lot I could say. I don't want to say too much because it's a long story about my life, where I went to school, how I walked down the country roads, how, how I just went through the woods, and we lived on a country road, dirt road, you might call it. And I remember walking from the Appleton Road to the Dexter Road to the other road, another road, to get to my school. The school was like 3 rooms. And they had 3 teachers, and one was the principal, and 3 grades in a room. And so I remember the name, Miss Shaw, Albright, and Watson, but my teachers, I never forget those ladies. In the country, what they would do, those teachers, they didn't have a place to stay like we have hotels and stuff. No, you had to live with the people, the home, like in my house or something like that. And it was really country. And I had to walk all the way to school, up all those roads. If it was raining, dusty, whatever. And then I see the school bus come by me with the white kids on it. Ooh, sometimes be throwing mud on us, whatever. But that was what it did, what went through. It was a long way. It was cold sometime, and a lot of things happened that I can't tell it all right now. But I lived in the woods, like the country, that's where it was. And so I lived where sometimes on my way to school, they had a penal farm close not too far from where I live. So therefore, sometimes the people be out there working on the roads. The guys be chain guys. I went through chain gangs during my childhood. I didn't think about what hurt me, maybe, but they didn't bother me. But these people be shackled with chains on their legs, working the roads, and I'm walking through all that. I didn't think about what's that today. I didn't have nerve. I wasn't afraid because, nobody bothered me, but they could have. But I was on my way to school. Sometimes my brother would be there. I came from a family of 13 and 9 brothers. So I was in between. I was in the middle of them. So I was, But anyway, that's part of my story. It's a long story. Want me to tell some more? It's a lot.
No, yeah, I actually do. I mean, this is amazing. Like you said, you were going to school, having to go through all these woods. The fact that you saw the white kids on their school bus, and they would sometimes taunt you with mud and stuff. But then you just had me pause when you said you've actually seen the chain gangs. I mean, this is stuff
Yes.
we read about or we see on movies, but you actually saw this.
Yes. Yes. I saw the chain. I saw these guys, and I would have the gun, but they couldn't run away anyway because they were chained. But I'm walking through there as a young girl, through all those guys, going down the road, it was like a dirt road, really. It wasn't a paved road. I walked Appleton Road, Dexter Road, Macon Road, and went up to the school. Those are roads. You can look on the map and see those roads. That's how it went. Yeah.
Now, when you were in school, what was your favorite subject?
Well, I loved math. I loved spelling. I loved they thought my teacher thought I was one of the best spellers in the school. And what she wanted to do, she want to take me on a spelling bee, but we never made it because look, I'm out in the country and I'm excited about going to the spelling bee, but didn't have that time. Well, I was good at that. I liked it. And guess what? Some of the kids in that school were 15 years old in the 3rd grade.
Oh my
15
goodness.
years old in the 3rd grade. And we had outdoor toilets, everything. It was something. I look back on that. I lived it. You read about it, but I lived it really through that.
Now, with your school, did your school go all the way to high school, or did it stop at 8th grade?
Now, let me tell you a little bit about my life. My aunt, my dad's sister, lived in Memphis proper. And when I was 6 years old, she took me to Memphis because my cousin was like my sister. So when I went to elementary school for 1 year in Memphis, and I came back to the country, and I never was in the 2nd grade. I skipped over it because I went to 1st grade in Memphis proper because it was Cordova, and then came back to Cordova with that 3rd grade. And that's when I found these kids and older kids in 3rd grade. They had made it through 3rd grade. And we had the wood heaters. It was difficult. You can read about it, but I lived it. I saw it with my eyes.
Now, when you graduated, do you remember how many people were in your graduating class?
No, I graduated from high school. I went to high school in Memphis. I went to elementary in Cordova, then went to Memphis with my aunt and went to high school. I don't know, maybe 300 or 400. I can't remember. It was all black school, it was all Booker T. Washington High School in Memphis. I went to high school in Memphis. I went to elementary school in Cordova, which is 15 miles out of Memphis. So that's why I was in the real country.
You talked about how many you had in your class. My dad, when he graduated, there were only 2 people in his high school graduation class, him and one other girl. 2.
It was
So when you graduated, I know Connie and you have told me that you decided to go into the military where you were a nurse. How did you make that choice to go into the military?
Well, let me tell you what happened. I graduated from high school, and I went to Lemoyne College for a couple of years. My dad did not have the funding to pay for me to go to school. So I decided to go to the military. say 4 years and come out and go back to school. And that didn't happen. I'll tell you the reason why. You want to know the reason why?
Yes.
Well, I was already trained to work. They never sent me to tech school. So therefore I was at Randolph Air Force Base, Randolph Field. So what would happen then, because didn't need to be trained, I went straight to work from basic training. That was some basic. After going to basic training, I got stationed at Randolph Air Force Base. And in Randolph Air Force Base, I was going to San Antonio. My mother was afraid that I was going to start messing with those men. How they think, Air Force men. So that what happened, I didn't go in there for that. And how I met that may be ahead of it, but I met my husband because he was looking at me as a girl, and I'm minding my business, going to San Antonio to get my hair done. And he came up and messed with me. And he told the guys, I'm going to meet that girl. Okay. Well, I didn't know that. They kind of pushed him into me. I'm standing at the bus stop. So he came and said, are you from Memphis? No, I think he said some other state, Kentucky, some states. I said, what about the girls from that? He got upset, I guess, so he left me alone. So later on, we became good friends after all that, because I didn't want to be bothered with these guys. I came in there for one reason: get my 4 years, get out, go back to school. That's what I wanted. That was my main reason for going to the military. But a long story behind all that. But anyway, it came out good.
Yes. Let me ask you another question about the military. So you mentioned you finished basic training. When you went into the military, was it still segregated? Was it still all Black units, or was it integrated at that time?
I'm trying to think in my room. You know, they had the room with 4 girls that had bunk beds and so forth. I think maybe I think it's not segregated, like, no, not kind of like it was. No, you had people, whites and Blacks together at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you went through basic training, I always hear people say that it's really tough. What was the hardest thing about basic training for you?
Well, I had to wear those kind of shoes that I'm trying to think the name of those shoes. You had to march in those shoes. My feet would be hurting. It was hard. We marched every place. We went to kitchen police, KP, they call it, and you had to keep everything in order. But see, one thing I liked about me, it wasn't hard for me to keep stuff in order because they had a little work. And some of the girls, straight out of high school, they had a problem because they weren't used to working. So therefore, it'd be hard for them to get up and get busy, going out in the morning, jumping up, going to reveille and all that. But for me, that wasn't too bad, but you better be there on time. You had to march. Your feet be so sore. And then kitchen police, KP, they called it. What I would do, you worked all day then. And you learned, if you didn't know how to keep stuff and clean up everything, you learned in there. You had to work all day from morning till night. You may have to clean the tables off, all of us were doing. And the ketchup bottle, like people pour ketchup out of the bottle, you better make sure that's clean. Oh, it was a lot to tell. I could tell a whole long about 2 months of that in basic training. And that tear, and sometimes the marching to get out of step, the tear would get you so bad, make the girls put a rock in their hand because they couldn't understand left from right. So it was fun. It was good though. I got a lot out of that. I met a lot of nice people, but you better have everything in order. Go to bed at a certain time. Sometimes you had things to do before you go out to reveille in the morning. If you clean the bathroom, you got to do that. Otherwise, you get a gig, they call it a gig. You had to have your clothes in your drawer folded a certain way. You better fold those things. I mean, it was interesting, really interesting life. But because I had a little bit of training in the workforce, it wasn't as hard for me as well as some of those girls right out of high school. They were having a rough time. But anyway, it was a long story about that military training.
Now, when you were in the military, is that where you became a nurse, or was that after the military?
I became one before. That's why the workforce. See, I went to Le Mans for 2 years, and then my dad didn't have the money, so I went to take my LPN course. I got state board license. I worked at John Gaston Hospital, which was president, I'll tell you about that hospital anyway. We couldn't even work on the white ward. They assigned us colored girls, they call us, to the black, units. I remember I had the best trainer train me for my LPN. And I was kind of a girl. I thought I was tall. I wasn't then. Because of that, I thought, and these little cute little girls went to school with me. And what would happen, they would be looking all, and my nursing instructor told me, said, stand up straight, walk bit tough. And so I was in the hospital walking that way. And the head nurse said to me one day, you think you own this place, don't you? See, the guys, they looked at me, I was just posing. I posed myself and walking, strutting like, because I was happy to be working. I was working most on the men ward too, black men. And some of them be calling me to do stuff, but I would help them. This head nurse walked to me and said, who do you think you are? You think you own this place? Now, I was surprised she said that to me because I didn't think about owning it. I thought about working. But there's a lot of stuff. I could take some stuff that would blow your brain almost. But anyway, that's what happened to me. The reason why I went in there is because I wanted to go back to school.
Well, okay.
I didn't do that. I ended up getting married, of course. So that's another story, another long story. But it's good though, because I remember all of it was good. Because you know what? If I started school, I was going to go into business after that. In San Antonio, Texas, where I first started. My husband got assignment. Now I think I had a first child. So I went PCS with him. So that made me leave that. PCS, TDYs, and all that stuff, went through all that. TDYs were different than PCS. Sometimes they'd be long. But because of TDYs and PCSs, I didn't go back to school and just stay. Went to school in Memphis, the business college. Ended up coming to another station, PCS. So that's why I didn't go back, didn't stay in there. I said I could have got my PhD, but I did get it. You know how I got my PhD? Raising my children. First, let me tell you this. I got my first degree, my bachelor's. And then with my granddaughter, I got my master's. And then with my great-grand, I'm getting my PhD. I'm working on a PhD now.
No, I love it. And, I'm just listening to you. You had your nursing experience before you went into the military, had a plan to take the military, then go back to school. But then you met the love of your life. I think you were married 72 years.
Yeah.
So you were married 72 years, traveled the world with him. So let me ask you this question, Mrs. Wills. As a military wife, what was the most challenging thing about being there to be a support for your husband and for your family?
The most challenging, let me think. Well, like I said, we go to PCS, different cities, you go to different states. Now, I had a really challenging experience in Montana, Great Falls, Montana. First of all, the weather was different. It snowed every day. And then secondly, the city had no blacks in there, but 2 or 3 blacks in the city, whole Great Falls. Okay, the one African-American church. I was belonged to a different what's called denomination. In fact, for 7 whole years, I never get my denomination because I came out of London, England. So in Montana, on the base, they didn't get things in there for black women's hair. I've been away from beauty shop for a long bit. Came from England where they didn't have it. And so then I went to the States. I know I'm going to have a place to get my hair done. No beautician in the city. No. Okay, the base they had nothing on the shelf for our hair. Oh, that bothered me. That was challenging. Big challenge. I better get in the fight to get something done. Okay, talking to the military wives who were, there were beauticians on the base, could have been hired. They were licensed, but they didn't have the beauty shop. Didn't have a place for us. Okay. So what I did, I started going up the ladder to find out. My husband could have got put out of the Air Force, but he didn't. But anyway, and some of the ladies backed out because they kind of afraid. I went all the way to the Pentagon. But in fact, I lived on the base. And they would check people out coming to my house. Where you going? On Mrs. Wills. Be some senators? In fact, I had Lady Bird Johnson involved. We had letters written. My husband, another man, another Air Force man, Sergeant, I think he was. What he did with my husband, when Twix, call him Twix, I don't know what they are, come down, he would tell my husband what was going on. In fact, my husband had to be escorted to the base commander's office about me.
Oh, my goodness.
Stop your wife. He told us to stop. So after all that, I used to call the Air Force time. Like, I called one day, they said, you can't call us anymore. Don't let me talk to you. Don't let them talk to me, okay? They cut me off right there. I kept on going. I wouldn't stop. And so finally I get the letter from Pentagon, said, take all your stuff and send it to me. And we did. And that's when they told my husband, you're going to a hot place. My husband, I'm going to Vietnam. No. They told him, you're going to Arizona. We didn't know about, never heard about, only things. I didn't know about Arizona. Didn't hear about Tucson, none of those places. So we came to Tucson from there. But what happened was they got us out of there because they didn't want me to keep messing around. I went up to the senators and all that. I wouldn't stop. The College of Great Fall, the sisters there, they knew. I went to the chapel. That's a chapel. But you know what, before I left, and I'm getting ready to leave, I was downtown doing something downtown Great Falls. And lady, I told her, we getting shipped out. She said, what? We got the thing over now. You got a beautician hired in there. They remodeled it, hired somebody in there. But I was leaving. They put me, but the good was that. And that's when I had the cross put on my yard. That was the cross put on our yard. On the base. A lot of things happened. But that was challenging to me. All of that. That was the most, moving about, PCS, TDY, that was kind of hard because when the PCS, if you couldn't go with your husband, you had to stay with somebody else. When you got being stationed in London, I couldn't go right then because they had a ban on the thing. So we had to go, I went to Memphis to stay there. And see, I had 2 children. I had my son and daughter, Regina. And so that was a shame, but they lifted so we could go. But a couple of months, they lifted the ban, we could go to England. But you just had to take it as a military wife. Whatever came up, that was your husband. But a lot of people didn't take it. I saw some other people that wouldn't have taken it. But that's another story too. But I went through all those challenges to get to where I am today. And I'm still challenged to do what I have to do.
Oh, I love that because that story speaks to if you don't see something that you want, then you can be a voice to fix it. And I think so many young women, even existing women our age, don't have the self-confidence to speak up. They see something that's not right, but they don't say anything. And so I just hope those of you that are listening, if you don't get anything out of this lesson of perseverance and you keep pressing, like you said, you took it up to senators, Lady Bird Johnson was involved. I mean, that's a big deal. And wow, I didn't know that about your story.
I looked back at my life and I said, wow, because you realize I didn't understand that like I do today, the purpose. We all have a purpose. So therefore, I look at my childhood, what I was doing in our community, in that country church that my mother, really she built a church. That's another thing. And in the community, we lived down the road, way down, but the community was a bigger community up the road, up Dexter Road. I live on Appleton Road. So because of that, on Saturdays, I go in the community, walk up the roads. I don't know why I was doing that. Bring the kids to my church. I don't know what I did, but I have fun with them. But they brought to other church. See, that's why I do what I do today, because people are people to me. No matter who they are, they all have a purpose. I didn't know that then. I said, wow, I was being brought to my purpose through that back there, that I was a child. Oh, I'm thanking God because I didn't know today I'd be this. I realize it now. It's been revealed to me clearer what I'm supposed to do now. From back there, our purpose. That's where I'm today. Purpose is important to me.
Yes. And that's what I love, that you're showing us that it doesn't matter where you are in your journey, or how old you become, that you still have purpose. And I know that you're still very active in Sunshine Ministry, which is your church and your community outreach. What do you want the legacy to be for what you and your husband and Ollie built with Sunshine Ministry? What do you want that legacy to be?
Okay, in that community, we went through a challenge to get that land built. It's another story. But anyway, I want to see that community come together. We right in, you ever seen our building right in the middle of a community, not on the side of the highway, we're in the middle of a community. If we first moved that community, we had some challenges right there in that community, the corporate neighborhood. Oh, they didn't want us there. I'll tell you this little bit of this story. We go there sometime, but first moved in 1987 on November. I remember the day. And the men were helping. We had a lot of Air Force guys. Because we started cleaning it up. Sometimes drug houses I didn't know about drug houses. They would be down the street. In fact, we were there sometime for a prayer meeting on maybe a noonday. And I could step out the door. There's a car sitting on the ground. I walked, the guys said, don't come up here. There would be surveillance officers on our ground. Because it's not like that right now. It's just changed. That's been a challenge. But if you go and look at it now, you wouldn't think that's happening. There'll be people, drug houses all down the street. We were in that neighborhood. So that's why I know I must be in Arizona. I wanted to leave this hot place. My husband, I'm going to die in 71. He did. We getting ready to move to Denver. That's what he said. But anyway, the purpose was to be in Arizona to see a change. It's a challenge. I'm this age, I'm still going through it. I'm going to see some changes, I know. Great changes, okay?
Yes.
I'm excited about it. That's why I'm happy, because I miss my husband. I miss him. But point is, I know I have things to finish. I have to finish. That's why I say health and well, because I've got to finish the course. I have to finish. Yes. Okay, I'm sorry, but I get carried away sometimes.
No, this is good. You deserve all the time in the world. Now, I want to ask you a question. So going back to Mr. Wills, so you guys were together 72 years. What was the thing that you liked to do best with him? What was the thing that the two of you liked to do?
Well, we used to travel a lot I like to do some more traveling because we belong to RCMA, that's Religious Conference Management Association. I'd like to get back involved with some stuff outside Tucson. For the last few years, I've been right here in Tucson. And we brought people in here, of course. I like to get back out there. What I like to do is see the generation. I don't want to do a lot of talking. I want to be an example. I want people to look at me and say, I want you to help me. I want your advice. And I'll be able to give it to them. I'm doing it for some people, but, I want to see things move, change. It's a challenge for me right now. Challenge and change. I mean, I'm in the process of changing. It's going to work. It's something really good getting ready to happen, I know. Because I have that faith and believe it. It's going to happen. I'm going to help a lot of people, young people. I look at the families. I'm hearing that stories about families. Wow, you grew up in that atmosphere? They grew up, some of these older people, like 60 and 70 years old, they had a rough life. But I tried my best to bring my children up the best I knew in the fear and the admonition of the Lord. I tried that. That was what I was taught. I may have missed a lot of time, but that's my idea. So I see young people and I said, whoa, I want to help them not to have to go through that stuff that some other kids went through. So that's where I am. I would like to help people, let them understand who they are, how important they are, how important every person in the world is important to God. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Understand what they have. We have the same thing, all of us, but we don't know it. It hasn't been told us. It's been hidden. But I think it's coming out now. Even through Connie, my daughter, she's a lot in this girl here. A lot in all of them. They are talented. They're gifted. They have God's gift in them to give that we're here for. That's what I want to see us move forward in that. They're calling. We have a call on their life. That's what I want to do. Encourage them. Not to tell them what to do, but let them see an example with their eyes. Say, how did you make it at 96, doing what you're doing, getting up and down, walking around, speaking clearly, understand? I want them to, you to have the same thing, because God is that for all of us. I want the purpose is what I want. The purpose for their lives. Before we put it out mother's womb, purpose. All of us have a purpose. I have it, I know. I get excited. Don't let me get too excited here, because that's what I do when I'm talking like this. You kind of know me, I get carried away.
No, that's good. And that message is so important for people to hear, because Mrs. Wills, so many people are trying to figure out what their purpose is. They don't feel valued. They don't feel important. And I think what you're saying right now, especially for our Black and brown sisters out there, we do matter. We do have a voice. We were designed by God for a time such as this. And we need to rise up in it, knowing that God orders our steps, just like he's ordering your steps every day. He's giving you that fire, that fighting spirit, those words of encouragement, and that heart for people. And I love that. I love hearing that. It's funny. As you were talking, I thought about when I first met you. I'm going back in time. I think you were like 47 years old. 47 back then, and you're still that feisty woman today. I love it.
You know what? When I do, it builds me up. It really builds me up to talk about it. It really does. If I'm like, no, come on, let's talk about it. Let's speak. Your words are important. What you say is so important. They come to pass. What you say, that's faith. And believe it. And stand there and see it come to pass. God brings to pass. We believe in our heart. We speak with our mouth, but it comes to pass by God. He brings it to pass.
Yes.
Patience. You know what? I find myself sometimes not having patience, getting ahead of things. You don't get ahead of it. Once you get ahead, you make a misstep. Got to come back and do it over again. Don't go, if a sign says, don't go down that road. You go down, you're going to find, it says, road closed. Why are you going down there? You messed up going down that road. I thought funny thing with Cancer time one time. She went down the wrong road. We had a hard time getting up out of there. It said road closed. You don't go down that road. It said closed. So we got to learn not to go down that road. It's closed. Turn around and come.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes we can get excited and get ahead of ourselves and preempt God, and then find ourselves, like you said, down a road that's closed. So we're almost out of time. I'm going to take myself off screen. It's just going to be you, but I'm still here. I want you to leave a powerful word for the women who are listening to you. And then,
well, women are important. It's almost too much to almost say. I taught on the virtuous women. One time my son asked me, said, Mom, would you do this on Tuesday night on the virtuous woman? So I taught that series. A virtuous woman is hard to find. When a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. A virtuous woman, the one will go all out. And the book of Proverbs tells us that she does everything she can for her family, her neighborhood, her friends, and no matter what, she's gonna not let anything stop her, because she got that strength. That's the whole message. I can't talk too much about that, because women are important to me, families are important to me, and we are going through a process now where families are being torn up so badly. Children are being hurt because the parents have been an example for that. So that's why I want to encourage mothers, sisters and brothers too, but mothers and fathers to understand their purpose, to bring their children up in the fear and admonition of the Lord. And I can't tell them how to do it, but I can tell them they need to do that, because that's important to be brought up like that. And I feel good about it, because I'm still working on me to make sure I get the point over without being offensive. You can go ahead of yourself and offend somebody. So I've learned that over life. Sometimes people don't like what you say. Well, you say it anyway, but it's a way to say it. So you not trying to make them do it. You want them to understand how important it is to do that with your children, your family. Give yourself over to that. Give your all to them, because you only live this one life. Now I'm older, and all I want my children to see, Mom, I'm here for you. I want to rub you back. But anyway, thank you for having me, LaWanda. It's good. It's good to be here with you. But I got a lot more. If I brought something else I want to talk about, we'll leave it alone. We'll talk again. But
Yes.
it's really important to be strong, healthy, Black American woman. Black, I said. Well,
Yes.
I'm saying Black. They call us Black, African American, and know who you are, no matter what. I look at name brand. We brought in some great people to our conferences. They're just people like anybody else. How do you get them here? They came because God wanted them here. That's why they came. Ask them, they come. Somebody said I put up other things. We talk about reconciliation, understanding people. That's why Jesus Christ died. So get that. Who we are. We are all important to God. My part, not your part. I have my part. Don't get in my lane. And don't get in. We want our own lane. Just in our own lane and connect.
Yes.
If you're doing something, I connect with you and help you. Don't try to take, or you have, that's your a calling. Do it. And I'm going to pray. I'm going to lift you up as you did. That's what our song would tell people in the community. Don't be upset. That's not what you to do. You do what you're supposed to do. They do it. So it makes the whole. It makes the whole when you do it together.
Yeah.
It makes come together. Every piece fit together. It's part of the puzzle. Fit together.
Well, I love this. This has been an honor and a privilege to be able to have this conversation with you. Connie, can you poke your head in so we can see you with your beautiful mother?
Let me poke myself in here. Am I on here? There we go.
You are on. Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing your mom on to Choose the Challenge.
Yeah.
I know this is going to be a powerful presentation. Black History Month. We're here to encourage people to be in their lane, to follow God, to know you have purpose, and to keep trusting and keep believing and keep praying. Thank you so very much. Love you both.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you.